to the big focus story. It is, like I said, same story every year. Just as the festive season starts, Delhi's air quality starts deteriorating. A very, very familiar narrative now, with farm fires and crackers adding to the toxic cocktail of vehicular pollution, dust and construction activities. We continue to keep our focus on this because we do want the authorities to wake up and realize that the citizens are not going to be quiet about this just because it happens every year. Every year, netas blame each other while citizens are left to choke. It's a helpless situation. It makes all of us feel severely disappointed, almost disgusted at the failure of the government to tackle air pollution. This year as well, air quality over the national capital has plummeted to severe quality, and the blame game has continued. Now it's a Haryana versus Punjab blame game as well over the issue of farm fires. Haryana CM, while admitting to the farm fire menace in the state, defended himself, saying that the proportion of farm fires is not even 10% of those in Punjab. All of this as the much-touted graded response action plan for the capital remains on paper, leaving millions of residents in Delhi caught in a gas chamber. When we talk about severity, let's put out the figures because it is important for our viewers to understand why we say that the air quality is in a hazardous condition. 51 to 100 is a moderate air quality level. Can we have that on our screens, please? This particular range affects only those severely sensitive. So 51 to 100 is that range where only those who are severely sensitive to pollution can be impacted. What is unhealthy, of course, is in the range of 100 to 150. This is the unhealthy range. I'll put out the figures there on our screens in just a bit, but just quickly running through the implications of AQI. 151 to 200 is when it gets unhealthy. And beyond 200 is where it gets very unhealthy, where health warnings of emergency conditions literally should kick in. This is for beyond 200. And of course, when it goes above 300 is when it gets hazardous. And we all know that the AQI has gone above 400, even 500 in certain locations. What you're looking at is the AQI over the last 1 week, from 26th of November when it was 271, it has fluctuated in the range of 300 to 450. It has now reached 385 the last we checked. These are all very, very hazardous conditions because this has got severe health implications. So also let's talk about why has the air pollution plan failed so far? Where are the stumbling blocks? Poor dust control has been a major issue. The government of Delhi keeps talking about stubble burning, but have they managed to control dust? Have they managed to control construction waste? The answer is no. Mechanical sweeping is limited only to the main roads. Sewage is openly left on the streets. Sewage mixes with the loose dust, turns into sludge. Policies are poorly implemented. It doesn't help for Mr. Gopal Rai to show up one fine day and penalize one fine company. There is no sustained policy or program. Surveillance system is non-existent. Violations remain unchecked. So when there is no penalty, no fear of the law, the very likely situation is things will continue with business as usual attitude. Industries spread in the municipal areas are the worst pollutants, dirty fuel and coal still being used. And of course, poor public transport. In the absence of last mile connectivity, vehicular pollution remains a major pollutant, a major cause of pollution. Also remember, no audit of waste segregation that is done. There is simply no focus on solid waste management. And we are told that the lack of funds keeps the municipal bodies constrained when it comes to taking action. And these are the local bodies that have to be extremely alert and proactive in controlling the conditions in those areas and the areas that come under them. But these bodies, the municipal bodies, that is, claim that they are literally helpless when it comes to funding. They do not have enough resources to implement the measures. So GRAP has remained on paper, no change on the ground. Mirror Now ground report takes you to the site of the Delhi-Ghaziabad Rapid Rail project work, where work is underway. We are going to show you how things are on ground. Let's listen in.
Yesterday also we saw, that your delegation went to see the smoke tower in CP, and today, as you said, after you went there today, it is working. But still, what we are seeing, that there are only, as of now, very few smoke towers in Delhi, and they are also not able to bring down the pollution, because we are seeing, it's going into hazardous
Very
category.
few? Only one?
Yeah.
Delhi has only one smoke tower, which was promised was 10 smoke towers, and that too is not working. 25 crores have been spent. This is RTA reply, and monthly it's a 60 lakh rupees expenditure on the maintenance. What for? Just to shut down? That's it. It's not been started yet. And when we went yesterday, because it came in the media has picked up the report, so they have started today. So.
Right now, the place where I'm standing is where the new Parliament building is being constructed. It is, as you can see, under construction. We also saw, that certain workers were also, construction workers were also coming and going inside. And my video will try to, zoom in on the construction activity that's right now going on, but we will not be able to show you that much. But you can clearly see on the screen that, the materials are present here, all the equipments are also present here, and what we can say on this, that the construction work is definitely going on inside this very, building here as well. You can clearly see the workers as well here present. Now, the Supreme Court last year in November, 2021 had asked the central government as to why is it being important, to continue with this construction, especially when the air quality in the Delhi NCR region has already gone into the severe category. On that, the central government had responded that they are taking the measures to control the dust here. They said that they have already, installed the anti-smoke guns, the mist guns, as well as dust suppressants were also being used at the very construction site. Now, we weren't allowed to go inside. That is why we cannot show you actually if all of this is being done on the ground as well.
Let's in fact go across to Mr. Vivek Chattopadhyay, Senior Program Manager of the Clean Air Program. A very good evening, Mr. Chattopadhyay. And as always, we like to have domain experts to give us a sense of the gravity of the situation. It's a yearly phenomena, but we would like to keep the focus on these issues because citizens suffer. People are choking. From what I hear, my colleagues in Delhi tell me that they've already started feeling their eyes burning. So there's an immediate consequence to this problem. From your understanding, why has all the different measures that the government has taken so far failed to show any results?
See, the major concern for air pollution control is like our GRAP or air pollution control laws that we are implementing largely concentrates in Delhi region, NCR region and other regions we don't even know. Even in Delhi, there are many areas where you would find that the measures are not being implemented, like you were showing about the construction dust management. So if you go by sector, you would find instances that the measures are not implemented on ground. Another example is like public transport. If the buses are not available...
And correct me if I'm wrong, from my understanding, as per GRAP, it's not just Delhi. There are 4 states that come under the purview. There are 13 agencies that are supposed to coordinate. Are you telling me that that has not happened, that only in Delhi this is a policy that is implemented, not in the without coordination with the neighboring states?
It is Delhi and NCR altogether. We don't know what the implementation status of all the measures. That is the point I am saying. For instance, like how many industries have been checked in Delhi and NCR, keeping in mind the GRAP implementation. How many sites have been closed across Delhi and NCR because of GRAP implementation? Similarly, are we doing hotspot management? For example, like road construction is happening. Are we doing enough on the highways in the Delhi and NCR region? So these measures require like reporting, monitoring on ground, as well as a feedback system from the control room that your strategies are working, where the action is needed. For example, if there is a traffic jam, you observe, are there any system to check whether the traffic jam can be removed by some way, by diversions and other things. So these are you have to be very dynamic in implementation when you're dealing with the contingency issues like emergency. It's the kind of air emergency, I would say. And another issue is like GRAP has a limitation that it doesn't go beyond Delhi and NCR. So unless until all
No,
the
that
four
is, sir,
states
that is what I'm intrigued by. From what I understand, GRAP policy is supposed to come into effect in close coordination of 4 states: Delhi, UP, Haryana and Rajasthan. Obviously, Delhi does not exist in isolation, and any policy that only targets Delhi will not be effective. As we all know, there are issues of stubble burning in adjoining states. There are sundry other issues, because there's movement of people across the borders all the time. Why is it that GRAP has not been extended to the other states? On paper, there are 4 states mentioned. And I checked, the basics on this particular policy. It also requires coordination, and my graphics will show you our text graphics. It requires coordination of multiple departments. It is not something that we can consistently only pull up the Delhi government for, Mr. Chattopadhyay.
Yeah, that is the issue. Like, if central government is monitoring the situation, coordinating with all the 4 states and beyond 4 states, Punjab including, are we working on with all the states? Because it's a regional issue as well as city issue, I would say. So that coordination is lacking, and perhaps we would have seen the situation different if the Punjab and Haryana would have acted far better, if Delhi government would have procured the buses that it is needed, if we have got the piped natural gas supplied to all the industries, so they should not use coal. If the power supply would have been much better in Delhi and NCR and beyond, so that people don't use gensets. So all this, unless until we don't do the preparedness, suddenly implementing GRAP will not work. That is the point I'm saying. So the groundwork hasn't happened. But now, since this is the contingency issue or the emergency issue, whatever measures we have to take, we have to take. And if it requires implementation of certain measures which are severe plus, that should be also thought about. That if the situation goes severe plus, that
it has gone beyond severe. It's hugely hazardous. Look at the figures. 2.3 million people died in India due to pollution in 2019. And 1.6 million out of this figure died due to air pollution. People are dying, slow, painful death, maybe not realizing how the pollutants in the air are affecting their systems and reducing their lifespan, Mr. Chattopadhyay. You have made a very important point, saying that when there are power cuts and gensets come on, that again adds to the pollution. People are not fully aware how even the air conditioners that we use are a hazard, and because of the soaring temperatures, it has become something which is a necessity for people in the national capital. There are certain conditions, Mr. Vivek Chattopadhyay, which perhaps cannot be controlled, the geographical location, for instance, but there are many other issues that can be controlled. Which are those issues, Mr. Vivek Chattopadhyay, which can be controlled and the government has failed?
Waste burning is one of the issue. Why waste burning still happens in Delhi and NCR? Although we definitely would say that Punjab and Haryana are contributing, but Delhi, NCR hasn't implemented solid waste management rules. One of the example I am saying.
Yes.
Landfill fires. Landfill fires still happen in Delhi. We haven't been able to control it. Why we haven't been able to procure the buses that are required? You go to any NCR city, do you find connectivity, good connectivity? Why are electric vehicles are not coming on the roads? We should have set much higher target. European countries or many countries, many cities who are facing air pollution problem have already declared that they are not going to use fossil fuel run vehicles.
When we were researching today, we realized there are countries, like you rightly mentioned, actually ask people to stay indoors when AQI exceed 150. 150 is the limit, and look at us, we have crossed 400. the authorities refuse to wake up. Singapore is one such country where I'm told 150 AQI, people are advised not to leave their houses. I have a caller from Delhi, Ramakrishnan, joining us. Ramakrishnan ji, good evening. Please go ahead. Tell us what you think about the current situation.
You see, I've been monitoring this AQI, all these TV discussions.
Yes.
Only some time back, it was very low, in Delhi, and people were appreciative of it. And suddenly it has become very bad. Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Go ahead. Yes.
Suddenly it has become very bad, That is all political, That is always, stubble burning is contributing the maximum to the pollution. The statistics shown some time back, on your screen was, totally, maybe it refers to an old data, See, some time back the AQI was very, very comfortable and it was in a good category, And now suddenly it becomes worse when all this stubble burning is going on.
Yes, that's precisely what we are reporting as well, that until a week ago, stubble burning wasn't a major factor. Now it has kicked in. And now it has kicked in at a time when the other factors are also, has also contributed. That is why the AQI has shot up suddenly. Captain Jaspal is joining us from Rohtak. Yes, Captain Jaspal, good evening. Please go ahead with what you have to say on this.
Good evening to you. It is a very, very non-serious business that they are doing. To give you a simple example, I give you 2,000 rupees and say buy an Airbus for me. Will you be able to? They are making no effort. It requires massive effort. And then there is corruption, whatever system they involve, like pollution centers, vehicles, old vehicles. They can easily tell these people that here are the new vehicles you buy, take it, pay back on loan. But we should be merciless in dealing with them. Otherwise, now you can see it is a gas chamber. Who is living around Delhi and who all are living? Chief Justice of India, President of India, Prime Minister of India, Environment Minister of India, and what have you, Lieutenant Governor, CM. It's a matter of shame for all of us.
It is indeed, and very well said. What I would add to what you just said is that there are also political considerations. The farmers cannot be penalized. There are appeasement issues. Certain penalties cannot be imposed for vote bank considerations. That also impacts implementation of policies, and pollution policy is no exception. Let's go back to Mr. Vivek Chattopadhyay. I would also, in fact, like to play out some of the voices we got from students. Before I go to Mr. Chattopadhyay, let's play out the citizens' voices, please, on what people have to say on the current situation in Delhi.
यहाँ पे बहुत पोल्यूशन है और यहाँ पे जैसे कंस्ट्रक्शन चल रहा है, इधर मशीनें दिख ही रही होंगी, तो इसकी वजह से बहुत प्रॉब्लम भी है। आने जाने में लोगों को जैसे मास्क लगा के जाना चाहिए पोल्यूशन की वजह से, नहीं तो वो बीमार भी पड़ सकते हैं। अभी एक लेडी यहाँ पे बेहोश हो गई थी, तो उनको वही है कि सांस की दिक्कत हो रही थी।
बुरा हाल है यहाँ पे, क्योंकि यहाँ पे धूल मिट्टी बहुत ज़्यादा होती है और फिर लोग भी बीमार हो जाते हैं। यहाँ पे कुमी जलन और वही सांस लेने में प्रॉब्लम होती है।
दिवाली के टाइम से तो कुछ ज़्यादा ही हो गया, क्योंकि वो पटाखे वगैरह सबने फोड़े थे, इसलिए तो आँखों में इचिंग वगैरह होती है, पानी निकलने लगता है इसलिए।
So what are the authorities doing? The last we checked, we found that the Delhi Environment Minister landed up in a location to check on industrial pollution, and the minister fined Larsen and Turbo. That is the company that was fined under the GRAP. The fine imposed on this particular company was 5 lakh rupees for violating the ban on construction activities. Let's listen into what the minister had to say.
अभी मैं यहाँ से गुजर रहा था तो हमने यहाँ देखा कि सारा जो है वो मिट्टी यहाँ खुली पड़ी हुई। फिर मैं जब अंदर आया तो यहाँ देखा कि यहाँ पे चोरुच पे काम भी चल रहा है, पत्थर कटिंग का भी काम चल रहा है। पता करने में पता चला है कि L&T कंपनी जो है ये काम कर रही है। अभी यहाँ जो कर्मचारी हैं उन्होंने ये बताया कि ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का राष्ट्रीय मुख्यालय शायद बन रहा है, अभी हमें कंफर्म नहीं है। लेकिन यहाँ पर CUQM के ऑर्डर का पूरी तरह से उल्लंघन पाया गया है, तो अभी तत्काल प्रभाव से इसको बंद करने का जो है निर्देश दे दिया गया है और 5 लाख का जो है जुर्माना लगाया जा रहा है।
Mr. Kaustav from Gurugram also joins the program. Good evening, Mr. Kaustav. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, sir. You heard the minister. You heard what the experts are saying on the current situation. What is your take on the matter, on the deteriorating air quality in the Delhi NCR region?
Yes, ma'am, I have a lot to say. I am an office goer. I live in Gurgaon.
Yes.
And on a daily basis, I am commuting in this very bad condition. And one of the major things I understand even when the minister is talking, it's the level of seriousness it is being taken in. I mean, they are fining a company like Larsen and Toubro for not following the norms for 5 lakh rupees, which they already must have planned out that even if we are fined, this is what we will do. Apart from that, in this given situation, I don't understand why companies cannot, tell their employees to work from home in this condition. That will give rise to, less of number of traffic of cars going on the road.
Okay.
At least some bit of contribution will be there to not pollute the environment furthermore. Then anyway it is in a bad condition. I mean, stubble burning, year after year we hear people like you talking on news channels, but nothing happens.
That is the tragedy of the situation, that till today, we have not been able to work out an efficient solution to the crop residue burning problem. It seems that machines have been delivered, the farmers are not using it, or it seems in many cases the alternative is simply not there. The farmlands have to be cleared for the next crop. It is, after all, a matter of survival, of livelihood. There is no option given to the farmers. And when we question, we always find that there is a shifting of responsibility by the governments. Like I mentioned, it's Punjab versus Haryana this time. Mr. Vivek Chattopadhyay, thank you so much, Mr. Kaustav, for joining us. Mr. Vivek Chattopadhyay, would you then say that the only solution is to have a comprehensive plan where the heads of state sit together? My friend who just joined us told us that why don't we shut down for a while, allow people to work from home? Would you suggest that it has reached that emergency level to reduce the vehicular pollution? At least we can do something like that?
That is quite doable, because that's what done during the COVID, but it may not help many people, because many people have to go out and work outside. So air quality has to be improved eventually. But to reduce the vehicular numbers, I think work from home for the people who can do it, that must be continued, and that should doable. Staggered office timings are another solution. Raising the parking charges in areas where you have the public transport connectivity, that will also help. Using clean fuel vehicles, for example, CNG or petrol or electric rather than diesel, those are also going to help. Then ensuring that in your area, not burning the waste. Like if the resident welfare associations become more aware, these groups can definitely monitor that. So I think many things are doable if the citizens as well as the citizen groups are able to do in coordination with government. But definitely government is the major stakeholder, because pollution control is one of the major responsibility of pollution control departments and municipalities. So they have to do their duties. If they don't, they do their duties, and if there are violations happening, so that is totally unacceptable.
Yes, this is an issue that requires some amount of micromanaging as well. Both micro and macro measures are necessary from what you're telling us. Thank you so much, Mr. Vivek Chattopadhyay, for joining us today. And thanks to all the viewers, all the callers who joined us with their views.